The stroke survivor who painted again, healing through neuroplasticity. Have you ever seen a painter at work? The way the brush glides across the canvas, turning empty space into color, chaos into beauty. For most of us, it's just art. But for Maria, painting was her heartbeat. She wasn't famous. She didn't sell her work in galleries, but in her small community, she was the woman with the colors. Until the stroke. One morning, Maria woke up in a hospital bed, disoriented. Half her body felt heavy. Her right hand, the one that had held brushes for 40 years, was limp. The doctor gently explained, "You've had a stroke. Recovery will take time. You might not regain full use of your hand." Imagine hearing that when your identity, your joy, your soul's language depends on your hand. For days, Maria stared at the ceiling, convinced her life as a painter was over. But here's where the story takes a turn, and where we step into the world of neuroplasticity. Hook. Most people think brain damage is permanent, that once neurons die, they're gone forever, and life after a stroke is about managing limitations. But the brain isn't made of stone, it's more like clay. It reshapes, rewires, and even reassigns jobs to different regions. And Maria was about to discover that firsthand. The first brushstroke of hope in rehabilitation, Maria's therapist gave her a simple task: pick up a pencil with her weak hand. It seemed ridiculous. The pencil slipped. Her hand trembled. She cried in frustration, but the therapist said something that stuck. Every attempt is a message to your brain. You're not just moving your hand, you're teaching your brain to find a new pathway. That night, Maria lay awake, repeating those words, teaching the brain to find a new pathway. So the next day, she asked for her old paintbrush. She couldn't paint a masterpiece. She couldn't even draw a straight line, but she dipped the brush into water and moved it back and forth on the paper. At first, it was messy, a splash, a smear. But each movement was practice, each smear was a signal. What was happening in her brain? When a stroke damages part of the brain, the neural highways, the communication lines, are disrupted. But here's the miracle. The brain can build detours. Other neurons, unused networks, and even the opposite hemisphere can take over lost functions. It's like a city after an earthquake. Some bridges collapse, but traffic finds new routes. At first, those detours are slow and bumpy, but with practice they become smoother, stronger, and faster. Maria wasn't just painting smudges. She was laying down new highways of movement in her brain. Painting the path back weeks turned into months. Maria practiced daily. She started with dots, then lines, then shaky circles. Each time she tried, her brain strengthened those circuits, pruning away the weak ones and reinforcing the useful ones. Her therapist explained, "Think of your brain like a garden. What you practice waters the plants. What you ignore withers. Keep watering the pathways you want to grow." Maria smiled at the thought. Her brain was a garden, and every brushstroke was watering her recovery. Eventually, she managed to paint simple flowers again. Not as precise as before, but recognizable. Friends cried when they saw them, because it wasn't just paint. It was proof of resilience. The science behind her recovery neuroplasticity research backs this up. Studies show that stroke survivors who engage in repetitive, meaningful practice, whether it's walking, speaking, or painting, recruit undamaged parts of the brain to take over. In fact, therapies like constraint-induced movement therapy force patients to use their weaker side, preventing the brain from giving up on it. Over time, MRI scans reveal changes in brain activity. Regions light up in new places, proving the rewiring process. And the amazing part, this can happen at any age. Maria was 62, old enough, some might say, to accept her limits. But her brain didn't care about her age, it cared about practice. A new kind of artist. One year after her stroke, Maria hosted a small exhibit at the local library. The theme, rebirth. Her paintings weren't the same as before. The brushstrokes were looser, more abstract. But in those colors, people saw something raw and beautiful, courage on canvas. Maria told the crowd, "I thought my life as an artist was over. But what I learned is that art isn't in the hand, it's in the brain, and the brain is more powerful than we give it credit for." What this means for you. Maria's story isn't just about painting. It's about possibility. If you've ever told yourself, "I'm too old to learn," you're wrong. If you've struggled after an injury and thought, "This is permanent," think again. If you've been stuck in a habit, a fear, or a way of thinking, you can rewire it. The brain is adaptable. It listens to what you repeat. It learns from what you focus on. Maria's shaky brushstrokes prove that change is not only possible, it's inevitable if you keep practicing. Closing and catasso. The next time you feel stuck, remember Maria. Remember that your brain isn't a fixed machine. It's a living, breathing garden that grows where you put your attention. And if her story inspired you, imagine how many more there are. This channel is all about uncovering the hidden power of your brain through stories like these. So don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and join us for the next journey into the science of change and resilience.